So there is a report from Dow Jones that the Department of Justice, specifically the FBI, is, quote, deepening its investigation into Tesla. And this has to do with something that we've reported before, that the DOJ is investigating Tesla, and Tesla has acknowledged that it has provided documents and information and is cooperating with the Department of Justice. According to Dow Jones, the FBI is comparing the company's statements about its production capability during early 2017, when they said, look, we're going to be ramping up Model 3 production. This is what we expect to build by the end of the year. They basically saying they are looking at whether or not the company made projections about its Model 3 production, knowing it would be impossible to meet those goals. We have reached out to Tesla. A Tesla spokesperson has responded to our request about this report, about whether or not the FBI is looking into essentially whether or not Tesla made misleading statements. The company says they have been cooperating with the Department of Justice. There have been no additional document requests, no testimony, no subpoenas have been served. Then the company goes on to say that its philosophy has always been to set truthful targets, not sandbag the targets, so that we would definitely exceed or not set unrealistic targets. That's essentially the response from Tesla. So again, not a huge reaction from the stock, but it's pulling back a little bit relative to where it was earlier on this report of the FBI really looking into what those statements were from Elon Musk at the beginning of 2017 and whether or not he made those knowing they couldn't make those production targets by the end of the year.
It seems, though, Phil, like investors should take the company's statement with a grain of salt in a way, because if the Wall Street Journal report is true, the FBI agents are contacting former Tesla employees. And so the company may not have any knowledge of what is going on with former employees. They may not have gotten additional requests, but the FBI could be proceeding with this investigation nonetheless.
Right. But Melissa, I think it basically comes down to this. Can they essentially, can the FBI prove that Elon Musk went into an analyst call and said, look, there's no way we're going to be able to do this, but we'll tell everybody anyhow. It's one thing to go out and say, we think that we're going to hit these production targets, and then as you're working through, as Tesla claims this is what's happened, that they weren't going to be able to meet those targets, that they have been truthful and forthright all along. It's one thing for that to happen, in which case you could look at it and say, well, okay, maybe their guidance was overly ambitious, but it wasn't criminal. It's completely different if the FBI is able to say, look, they went into those calls knowing there was no way that they'd be able to get through these production targets, and yet they still set those targets. Two completely different things, and that's essentially what this investigation comes down to.
Proving a state of mind is a very difficult thing to do.
Yeah, essentially.